welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Taya and this is Taya's Turning Pages. So by the title of today's video, as well as the location change, you guys can tell that I am switching it up and I'm finally filming another reading vlog. Yes, we did it, Joe, we did it. Taya is finally filming another reading vlog after like 6 months. I've only uploaded one reading vlog and that was like 3 or 6 months ago, so yeah. But we're back now and I'm actually really excited to read this book that I chose for this reading vlog. And I have like other ideas that I want to do for reading vlogs like up here, in the queue, but this one was more spontaneous, kind of on the fly, and I just said why not. I was actually watching Bounded and Bookmark's most recent reading vlog and she was reading this book and I was going to pick it up anyway, but once I heard her review on it, I was sold. Her review and the way that she worded her thoughts and feelings on this book was just so profound and so compelling. It just really hit, it really hit. So I just decided that I'm gonna pick it up, stop playing, and give this book a read. And the book that I'm talking about is called You've Reached Sam. So I feel like everyone and their mother has been talking about this book, whether it is just to give it praise or just to let people know that this book is out. And this is a YA novel, and I don't really know the entire synopsis, but from what I gathered from her video, as well as just looking around on Bookstagram, this does follow a couple. Boyfriend's name is Sam, and I'm not sure what the girlfriend's name is, but this follows this couple and they are, I think, in their senior year, so they're both planning out their futures together and getting ready for college applications and things like that, and again, just getting ready for their future. And unfortunately, Sam dies unexpectedly, and so the girlfriend now, of course, has to deal with that and cope with the grief and figure out how she's going to move forward now, especially with all of these plans that she had with Sam. She can no longer carry these plans out since he's not here anymore. And one day she decides to call his cell phone, I think just to hear his voice on his voicemail, and instead of getting his voicemail, he actually picks up. And so you follow them now on this journey of just acceptance. So accepting Sam's death, accepting that unfortunately he's not coming back, also dealing with just trying not to have one foot in the past and one foot in the present, and really just trying to move forward completely. You're also dealing with yearning and longing, and again, just not being super present because you're so focused on what's in the past. So I just feel like this book is really gonna hit all of the feels and just probably make me ugly cry. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I just know that this is going to be one of those books that probably emotionally breaks me, just because I don't really deal with grief that well and death and everything like that. So I don't normally read books like this, but because seeing other people's reviews, I just knew I was going to have to pick this up one way or another. So I'm really happy that I have it now. I did have to get it on my iPad. I went to Barnes & Noble today to try to find a physical copy, and of course my local Barnes & Noble was sold out, but I got it on my iPad. It's fine, and if I end up liking it, then I'll just order the physical copy, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. But I just want to quickly show you guys the cover because it's just, it's stunning. I love it. Ignore this is my tripod. But this is such a nice cover, and you can already feel the pain. The pain is radiating through the freaking screen. So yeah, I just know that this is gonna hit really hard, be really impactful, probably poignant, all of those buzzwords. I feel it in my bones. I'll check in with you guys when I actually have, now this lighting is acting all crazy. It is late at night, you guys. It is 10 o'clock. I have my lamp on over here and it's not okay. It's focusing again. Good. All right, so I will check in with you guys when I actually have something to say, because I have not even started it yet, but I at least wanted to kick off this vlog and say hello and explain why you're here and why we're here. Also, I just wanted to quickly say, if you guys see me wearing these, that's because I am that type of person that needs to read in absolute silence, or at least just have some type of quiet, and my apartment complex is so fucking loud that I cannot read without these. So I literally put these on and turn on this playlist that I have on Apple Music. It's called White Noise. That's literally what it is called. Apple Music Sleep. And right here, white noise. And all you get right here is just endless loop of white noise. It feels like you're on a plane. When the turbulence and everything, it just feels like you're on a plane, and I love it because I don't hear nothing. I don't hear a damn thing. And that's what I like when I read. So if you guys notice me wearing these all throughout the vlog, that's why.
Make it way too hard. it. Knew it from the shot, there was no limit to it. Now I'm catching feelings, baby. You give me feels, and I know that I know that I know that it's real. You give me feels. You give me feels, and I know that I know that I know that it's real. You give me feels. It took a lot of hardship just to learn how not to break down and stop, babe. No matter what I've seen in the past,
Okay, so I'm officially on chapter 3, and y'all, hold on, let me take this off. Y'all, this book is so freaking sad. Oh my gosh, like, I don't even know what to say, honestly. Like, it is just one of those books that it's really gonna hit you in the feels if you are very emotional and sensitive. it's gonna hit you like where it hurts. But I will just say quickly that I think Dustin is doing a great job at exploring different ways that people deal with grief, because the way that Julie is coping with her grief, I feel like a lot of people would probably want to either have something to say about it, or they would probably look at it as like, I wouldn't do that if I was in her situation, which is just like not cool. Hey guys, so it's actually Sunday, January 23rd, 11:13 in the morning. I actually just woke up not too long ago. That's kind of why I look and sound rough, but we're here. We made it. I know it's been a while since I picked up the camera to actually film for this vlog. I am so confused sometimes by like reading vlogs. I don't want to like record too much because then I feel like they're gonna drag on and be too long, but then like I feel like I also don't pick up the camera enough. So like trying to find that balance is really hard, but like we'll figure it out. Anyways, I'm still reading You Reach Sam. I honestly have been reading like other books alongside You Reach Sam, so that's kind of why this has also been taking me a while to film, because I've kind of put it down to focus on this other book that I'm reading for Kayla's / Books and Lala's Buzzword Reading Challenge. I needed to finish that since it's an actual challenge, and the book was like high-key depressing, so it kind of put me in a reading slump. And You Reach Sam is also very sad and depressing because it deals with grief, so I just didn't want to read those like back to back to back like that. But I really want to get this vlog done, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. But yeah, so as you saw, I just made some cappuccino and I'm about to drink this and then start reading You Reach Sam again. I honestly don't remember where we left off. I think it was like chapter 2 or chapter 3. I don't even know. That's so bad. That is so bad. And like I said, this vlog is already all over the place, but that's how we do things around here. So anyways, I'm gonna drink some of this, get my iPad. I think it's out in the living room because I'm charging it, so I'm actually gonna go get that. I will check in with you guys when I actually have something else to say about the actual book.
I ask myself if this shit real. I contemplate about how I feel. You make it way too hard to think that this could be what you look for. I don't wanna wait another minute for you. Oh, you got me falling from the ceiling for you. Knew it from the shot, there was no limit to you. Now I'm catching feelings, baby. You give me feels, and I know that I know that I know that it's real. You give me.
Hey guys, so it's actually 2 o'clock and I have been reading You Reach Sam for a couple of hours at this point, and I'm actually a little bit more than halfway through. I'm on page, I think, 97 and chapter 10 more specifically. And so this book is actually only 185 pages long, I'm pretty sure. I should probably pull it up, but I think it's 185 pages if I didn't mention that earlier in the vlog. So it's fairly short, so I will be finishing it today. But I just had to come on here and share my thoughts because guys, it's so sad. It's really good and I'm enjoying it despite the really depressing content, but I am just like, oh my gosh, my heart is like shattering into a million pieces with each and every chapter. It is so sad, but really appreciate us making this story, because as someone that isn't super receptive like to grief and death and mourning, because those topics make me very uncomfortable and very scared because of the, you know, unknown, but also the inevitability of it, I guess. I just don't really like to think about that type of stuff in my day-to-day life because it's just like bringing on crippling anxiety, existential dread, etc. But I'm really glad that I picked this up because I feel like this is going to help me become a little bit more comfortable with those topics, because it happens, unfortunately. It happens every single day, and it's going to happen to all of us at some point. So I just really think that this is such an important read. Even though it's a YA book, I think that everybody who picks it up can take something away from it, no matter how old you are. I do have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, and I had to write them down so that way I didn't forget, because this book just explores so much. There's also a lot of social commentary in here as well, which I wasn't expecting, but it makes sense. So like the first thing that I wanted to say was that this book obviously goes into grief, and it explores how people cope with it in different ways. So you have so many different characters in here. Like, it's not just focused on Julie, but it's focused on a few side characters, and they're all just going through the motions of this. And you see some people holding it together better than others, and then you see other people completely unraveling at the seams and falling apart and just trying to get out of the bed in the morning. Like, that's the range here, and I know that that is the range in real life. So I just feel like it's very authentic, and I really like that and appreciate it. I really, you know, was thinking about just the way that Julie is grieving, and I just feel for her. I feel for her. I feel for both Sam and her, and we'll get into Sam in a minute, but I feel for Julie so much because I'm imagining myself in her shoes, even though I don't want to, but I'm imagining myself in her shoes and trying to figure out how I would go about this situation. And honestly, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I have to give Julie props because this is a difficult decision that someone has to face, but especially a teenager, and then a teenager in their senior year trying to gear up for the next phase of their life. Like, my heart goes out to her because she has to essentially figure out if she wants to put both feet in the past or put both feet in the present. She can't do both. She can't keep this up of having one foot in the past and one foot in the present. Like, she just can't do it, and she's starting to like realize that now, of course, halfway through the book. And my heart breaks for her because, you know, like, there's this dread that I have, this sense of dread that I have, knowing that all of this with her and Sam will be coming to an end very soon. And that realization just makes my heart break for Julie and Sam, to be honest. And mention including social commentary in here because there's a scene, and I won't give too much away, of course, but there is a scene in here where Julie is falling behind in school because of the grief, and she forgets to turn in an assignment, and her teacher is pretty much just like, sorry, like, I can't do nothing about it, be easy, like, kind of some, you know, kind of like that. Like, we've all probably had those teachers or professors that didn't really give a fuck about what you were going through, and they were kind of just like, oh well, like, it's in the syllabus, you should have did it, you know. And he kind of spins it in a way of like, listen, this is the real world, and in the real world people don't really care about what you're going through, even if something as tragic and severe as someone close to you dying. And that is true, and I get it, and I'm glad that Dustin Tao included that because that's really how a lot of people think and move in this world. But it's still just really like cruel when you think about it, and it really was making me sit back and think about how we as a society expect people to bounce back super quickly after suffering a devastating loss. Like, it's just really mind-boggling to me that we give people only a certain amount of time for bereavement, and only for certain people. Like, it's not like, oh, you have bereavement for, like, you know, your best friend or anything like that. It has to be like an immediate family member or your significant other that you have to be married to. And it's really crazy to me that we expect like that much from people. Like, we expect them to literally just be a robot or compose themselves like literally within 3 days after they have suffered a devastating loss. Like, I just think that is insane. I've always thought it was crazy, but reading this book and really seeing how Julie is trying to pick up the pieces in a way, and seeing people kind of just being cruel to her, it's just really sad and really annoying and frustrating. So I had to mention that because that has been weighing on my mind a lot reading this book. And I'm not saying that she should be, of course, excused from certain things, but like, damn, you can't even give her a little bit of a break. Like, she really just lost someone that was very near and dear to her like a week or two ago. I don't know, I just find that really crazy. And then I'm looking at my phone because like I said, y'all, I have notes. I have a lot to say about this book. Like it has evoked so many emotions in me to the point where I am so surprised that I'm not on here ugly crying right now. I have definitely choked up and teared up in the living room when I was reading it. My boyfriend was looking at me like, are you good? I was like, no baby, I'm not good. I'm not good, because this book is really sad. But I wanted to also, just expanding on that a little bit more, I also just feel like there needs to be a certain level of sensitivity and like delicacy when it comes to interacting with a young person or a teenager that has experienced losing someone very close to them. Because yes, it doesn't matter what age you are, we're all unfortunately going to lose someone that we care about. It's inevitable. This is the cycle of life, or the circle of life, whatever. And so I understand that, but I just feel like there still should be some type of sensitivity when it comes to interacting with a teenager or a young person when it comes to, you know, death. Because for some of them, for some, they have not experienced it yet. It's very traumatic, of course, but it's even more so for them because they never experienced something like that before. They're still so young, you know? And that was like my next point, was that this just shows how awful it is to hear about somebody losing their life at such a young age. It's sad regardless, but it's especially sad when someone passes away at a very young age and they didn't even get to live out the rest of their life. They didn't get to go on to graduate or go to prom, or, you know, go to college, get their first apartment, get their first job, meet their significant other, or whatever the case is, or travel the world. It's so heartbreaking to like be hit with that fact, or that reminder of like, there are so many people that lose their lives, but there are so many young people that lose their lives and they don't even get to enjoy it. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. I know I keep saying the same words, but that's like really like what this is. It's heartbreaking and it's so depressing, you know? And I was just thinking about everything that Sam loses out on, and hearing Julie kind of update him, telling him like, you know, graduation is 2 months away, and he's just kind of like silent on the other end of the phone. It just, it does something to me. It does something to me. I really feel for everybody involved in this situation. And I know I said that we're gonna get on to Sam. I'm gonna get on Julie just a little bit more, and then we'll move on to Sam. But I just had to get that out very quickly because like I said, it's really, really sad. And so starting with Julie, or going back to Julie and kind of expanding more on that, I'm just like word dumping and word vomiting here, guys. So that's what these reading vlogs are for. You're getting my reaction in real time. So I apologize that this is kind of chaotic, but like this is how we're gonna roll with it. So going back to Julie, I really commend Julie for trying to balance all of this, because I can only imagine what it would be like to want to continue to talk to the person that you loved so much that is no longer here, and wanting to drop everything and always talk to them, but also not wanting to, like I said, miss out on commitments that you made with people like in the real world. Like that has to be so difficult to navigate, again, especially as a teenager. So trying to watch her navigate that and trying to balance it, it's really something. And I figured out a plot twist when it comes to these phone calls and kind of how like they affect Julie's real life. And it really is just like a reminder that you know that this is coming to an end. You know it's coming to an end very soon, because she can't keep living like this. She can't keep living like this. Sam can't keep going on like this either. So yeah, all that to say, I really like Julie's character. I could see why some people might not really care for her, because the way that she is handling grief, she is missing out on a lot of important things, like I mentioned, in the real world. So she isn't really going to certain vigils that are being held for Sam in his memory. She's not going to just certain events that are being held in his memory, like period. So a lot of people are not happy with her. A lot of people actually blame her for Sam's death. So she's dealing with a lot of depressing shit. And I just really like her character, and I think that this is how some people grieve. Like, I just don't think that we should be sitting here judging people and saying like, I wouldn't do it like that, I wouldn't do it like this, because it's like, you don't know what you would do. You don't know what you would do. You would hope you wouldn't do something like that, but when grief actually hits you, you don't know. You don't know how you're going to react to that, how your mind is going to react to that. I'm sure Julie didn't think that she would ever do something like this either. You know what I mean? But here she is, and here we are. So I just like how it's really raw and real and uncut, in my opinion. And then going to Sam, heartbreaking, heart-shattering, all of that. I love Sam. I love Sam so much. I love how good of a like book boyfriend he is to Julie. Like he's phenomenal. And even though he is in this weird limbo, I guess, state while he's talking to Julie, he is still so upbeat and so optimistic and doing everything he can to like reassure Julie and to also keep Julie at ease as best as he can. Like, even though he is clearly dealing with a lot, but he's still making sure to put Julie first and trying to reassure her. And I love that. I love that about him, and I love that about this story, that they're both really relying on each other and trying to help the other navigate this new reality for the time being. I really like it. And Sam is just such a sweet character. He's such a sweet guy. Like, he's such a sweet guy. I'm talking as if he's real, but like, he is such a sweet character.
I ask myself if this is real. I contemplate about how I feel. You make it way too hard to think that this could be what you look for. I don't wanna wait another minute for you. Oh, you got me falling from the ceiling for you. Knew it from the shot, there was no limit to you. Now I'm catching feelings, baby. You give me feels, and I know that it's real. You give me feels.
Hey y'all, so it's actually 8:30 on January 27th. It is nighttime, and I just wanted to come on here and wrap up this video and give you guys my final thoughts on this book. Honestly, this video has taken so long to film, and I don't understand why, because this book is only like 200 and something pages, but here we are. So I do have my notes here, and I really wanted to go over a few things with you guys. I'm obviously not going to give any spoilers or anything along those lines, but I really wanted to talk about how this book made me feel and what it means to me, because I have a lot of thoughts. I do have a physical copy of the book now. As soon as I finished the last chapter and the epilogue, I ordered this straight away from Barnes & Noble. I needed it. I absolutely needed it, because this book means everything to me and more. I feel like you can already tell that I'm going to rate this 5 out of 5 stars. I would give it 10 stars if I could, because this book emotionally destroyed me. And I have not read a book in a long time that has made me cry. And when I say cry, I mean cry. I'm not talking like, oh, I got a little bit teary-eyed, a little bit misty-eyed. No, I'm talking about I full-blown sobbed like a child. Like, hey guys. So it is actually 5:04, and I just finished You Reach Sam, and as you can see, I am a hot mess express. I'm literally crying. My press-on nails like popped off. It's a whole thing, but I finished the book and it broke me. It emotionally broke me. Easy 5 stars. Easy 5-star book, because I feel like if you can bring out that type of emotion in somebody through a book, period, like 5 stars. And honestly, like, I'm gonna be thinking about this book for a long time. As soon as I finished the epilogue, I was literally like sobbing, and my boyfriend was looking at me and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, once again, I am not okay. Like, I need a tissue and everything. It was a whole thing. I think it's like up here. Yes, like literally, I needed a whole tissue and everything. This book was so profound, so heartbreaking, but so beautiful that I could not rate it any other way. Also, this book in general is just stunning. I know you guys seen the cover art when I was reading it on my iPad, but look at this. Look at this. I didn't even notice this until recently. Look at that. That is so pretty. Those are supposed to be, I think, the cherry blossoms. That is a huge part of the story. I'm obsessed. There's nothing like on the back or anything, but I love this. I think I'm going to display this on my bookshelf, because this has easily become one of my favorite books of 2022 already. And we're only in January, baby. And it's already become one of my favorite books, period. But I just had to show you guys that, because I just thought it was absolutely stunning. So, like I mentioned, I have a lot of thoughts, and we're gonna get into them now. So the first thing that I will say about this book in general is that you need to suspend any and all disbelief. I usually do that when I read books anyway. I read so many thrillers, I read so many romances, that it's like second nature for me to suspend all disbelief, because with those type of books, you really need it. So if you struggle with that, maybe work on it, because if you don't, you're gonna be really frustrated as you read this story. But because I was able to do that, I think that I had a more enjoyable reading experience. But I could definitely see how someone who is really like, you know, logical and really critical when they're reading their books, whether it's a story, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, I could see them being a little bit frustrated with this. So just keep that in mind if you are interested in this book. I just wanted to say that. I have heard people say that this is fantasy, or it has fantasy elements involved in it, and I don't know too much about that genre because I don't read it all like that. But I will say that this isn't high fantasy. I can at least tell you that this is not high fantasy. There's not a lot of world building or anything along those lines. I will say that this more so just has magical elements involved and just things that you can't explain wrapped up into this book, and I'll leave it at that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was the pacing. I think that the pacing was really, really good for this one. This book, like I mentioned, is 260, oh gosh, I want to say it's 263 pages mainly, maybe. Oh, I lied. Okay. So this book is actually almost 300 pages. It's 293 pages. The physical copy is, but when I was reading it on my iPad, I think it was only 180 or 90 something. So do with that information with what you will. But I think that the pacing was good, period, point blank period overall. I think that if this would have been any longer than what it was, it would have dragged on and it definitely would have got repetitive. So I think Dustin Tao did a phenomenal job at identifying the stopping point and really stopping at that point. So yeah, really appreciated the pacing with this one. And then moving on to the actual story and the characters themselves. So I have to start with Julie first. I am a Julie apologist. I'm a Julie stan, okay? This is a Julie stan account. I loved her. I loved her. And I know that sounds so controversial because I feel like any negative reviews, oh gosh, I feel like any negative reviews that I've seen on this book, specifically about Julie, it's not good. My girl's fighting for her life, you know, on Goodreads, honestly, it feels like. But I understand why people don't really care for her character, because the way in which I guess she grieves and the way that she goes about the grieving process and the mourning process is not ideal. But at the same time, who are we to judge how somebody grieves and how somebody mourns? Everyone responds to trauma and death differently, and I just feel like bashing a character or bashing someone that doesn't do what you would probably do if you were grieving isn't really the best way to go, in my opinion. So when I was reading this and when I was really paying close attention to Julie's chapters and what was going on with her, I was really trying to put myself into her shoes and really imagine all of what she's dealing with and the weight of the world on her shoulders. Essentially, she's dealing with so much, and I can't get into every single thing because I don't want to spoil the book since it is so short, but just keep in mind she's going through a lot, not just the passing of Sam, but just other stuff that's going on in her life. And so it's natural to me for her to react and act the way that she did. Am I saying that it's right? That's neither here nor there, but everyone responds to trauma and grief differently, and I just think that we need to keep that in mind when it comes to these type of situations. But I really liked her. She was a planner through and through, and I am the same exact way. I am the type where I feel like I have to plan every single detail of my life and my day, which is not healthy. Okay, I recognize that it is not healthy. Okay, and it is not good. And they were talking about that in the book. Julie and other characters were, you know, talking about how, you know, it's fine to plan and it's fine to want to map out the future and what you're going to be up to in a couple years from now, etc., etc. But at the same time, you cannot put all this weight and all this pressure on it, because if you do, you're just going to let life pass you right on by. You're not going to stop and smell the flowers. You're not going to appreciate the things that you have and the people that you have now, and understand that one day all of this stuff is going to go away, and you need to just be in the moment and be thankful and happy with what you have, and not sad about with what you don't have, you know. So there was just so many different important topics on that alone, and that really resonated with me, because as someone that is a planner, I sometimes tend to lose sight of what's in front of me and just thinking about, you know, 1 year ahead, 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead, and not enjoying what I have now. And that's not okay, because we don't know what tomorrow is promised, you know. So that really resonated with me, and I'm definitely going to try to do better when it comes to that. That whole portion reminded me of the movie Soul. If you ever seen that movie on Pixar, that is one of my favorite movies, and I remember after I finished it, it just did something to me in terms of making sure that I stop and smell the roses, and this is exactly what that book did for me too. So for that, I love it even more, and I love Julie even more. Now moving on to Sam, I don't know if I mentioned how I felt about him earlier on in the vlog, because it's been a minute since I filmed for this video, but I really enjoyed Sam's character. I empathized with him and Julie, and my heart broke for both of them individually and collectively, but my heart really broke for Sam because, again, he was the one that was going through death, and death at a young age, and you could tell that he was feeling some type of way because he was missing out on so much that he planned, you know, on doing with Julie and with his friends and just in general. you could tell it was really getting to him, and my heart was just breaking every single time something was brought up about graduation or something was brought up about college, and he couldn't really say anything. So I just, oh, it was so sad. It was so heartbreaking. And again, it goes back to my earlier conversation of how it's really unfortunate when anyone dies, but it's especially heartbreaking when a young person dies, because they don't even get a chance to experience anything. They don't get to experience anything. They were just a baby essentially when they died. So that once again just hit the nail on the head for me. Next thing that I wanted to get into was the fact that this is a true star-crossed lovers trope. So if you are a fan of star-crossed lovers, I'm talking like Romeo and Juliet, I'm talking Titanic. If you are into that, you might really enjoy this book, because this is a true star-crossed lovers, and I've always been a huge fan of that trope. Titanic is one of my favorite movies, so I'm here for it. Yes, it's tragic. Yes, it is depressing and it is heartbreaking, because you know these two characters can never ever be together, but I love the whole whirlwind romance of it all. I just think that a whirlwind romance is so beautiful and so passionate. Just love that. I love that in books and movies and film and media, whatever. I love it. I eat it up. So I knew I was going to like this book right off of that alone, but yeah, if you don't like star-crossed lovers, then keep that in mind, but if you do, you probably will enjoy this a lot. I just feel like this is going to be a book that can be a sense of comfort or a source of comfort for someone, possibly, just because of how much it deals with grief and how much it deals with acceptance and letting go and moving on but not wanting to move on, and how do you change your entire life trajectory when the person that you wanted to spend it with is no longer here, you know? I just feel like that this book is really going to resonate with a lot of different people, because of just the important content matter in it. It doesn't just focus on the romance, it doesn't just focus on the relationship between Julie and Sam, but it focuses on the bigger picture again, which is grief and just those stages of grief. I feel like when something tragic happens where someone does die, a lot of the times with grief you might want to just bury anything that has to deal with the memories or the shared experiences or that person in general, just because of how much it hurts, how heartbreaking and searing that pain is, you know. And I've lost people that I was really close to, so I know that feeling as well, and it can be hard. It can be hard to want to remember and to always think about them, but it also hurts, and it's like I said, like a searing pain, and then over time it becomes a little bit hollow, but it's still there and it's still very present. It's like a void, you know. So I just thought that that message was really important, and I liked how it was really emphasized in this story. There was also talks about how while you should continue to do whatever you can to remember that person and share those memories with other people through storytelling, you also shouldn't get too caught up on the past, and you do need to focus on what's in front of you and not always look backwards. And I'm not saying that grief goes away, because it never does. If you have lost somebody, it will never go away. I feel like it becomes a part of you versus it consuming you. So I will say that I feel like this book really just reiterates the fact that you can never forget. You can never forget the people that you have loved and that you have lost. And it's so important to remember them, whether it's from time to time, whether it's every day. It is so important to remember the people that you have lost, because that is how their memory lives on, of course. And I really liked how Dust explored that in here and how he iterated that through Julie and the rest of the characters in the story. I think it was really important, and I think it was essential, because it's the truth. You need to remember those people, because they were real people. They were here, they left their mark in the world regardless, and unfortunately they're no longer here. So it is up to us as relatives, as friends, as significant others to pass on those memories, to pass on those shared experiences with that person, and let others know that they existed and they made a huge impact on my life and they have a piece of my heart, period. I thought that was just a beautiful message, and I think for a YA audience, I think it was done well here, in my opinion. The thing that I wanted to quickly mention that I forgot is that this book has a way of presenting thought-provoking questions to you throughout, but the one that really resonated with me and stuck with me throughout the entire story, question of what would you do if you were in Julie's shoes and you were offered the opportunity to speak to your deceased loved one. Going into this, I obviously didn't really know what to expect, but I didn't expect this book to show the pros and the cons of being offered this opportunity to talk to your deceased loved one on the phone. I, of course, was thinking like, well, if I had that opportunity, I would jump right on it. You know, I have a few people that I would love to call up and talk to and just tell them what they've missed out on and how much I miss them, etc. But seeing what Julie was going through and even seeing what Sam was going through, it made me think twice. It really made me think twice, and it really goes back to that whole point of it's not healthy for you or for any of us to continue to hold on to the past and to the pain and to the grief. We really need to try to move forward as best as we can. So that has stuck out to me, and I feel like I'm always going to think about that part of the story for years to come, because man, oh man, what would you do with that opportunity? I don't know. I in the beginning I was thinking like, yeah, I would jump on it, but now after reading this, y'all, I'm not 100% sure. All right, y'all, and those are all of my thoughts on You Reach Sam. I definitely recommend this book. I think if you can handle the subject matter in here, I think you should pick this up. This is so poignant, so profound, so impactful, so hard-hitting. All of the buzzwords you can think of, that is this book. It is short, but it really packs an intense punch, and I think that this is going to be a story that I think about forever. No matter how old I get, I just think that I'm always going to think about this book because of how it made me feel. I think any book that can invoke any of those type of emotions out of you, but especially tears, I think deserves a lot of praise, in my opinion. The way that y'all be crying over A Little Life, that is the way that I cried over this book, I'm assuming. So I can't even imagine how I would cry if I ever read that book. I don't know if I will ever read A Little Life because of how heavy it is, but I am intrigued. But I just know I will be sobbing like a baby the way that I did with this book. But yeah, I definitely recommend this. If you can handle it, please look up trigger warnings because there are a lot. But yeah, y'all, that's really all I have to say. This was amazing. I am definitely going to keep Dustin on my radar. I already followed him on Instagram because I need to know when his next book is coming out, and I need to know everything about his future endeavors when it comes to writing, because this debut, who would have thought? Who would have thought that this, like, who would have thought that this would have been a debut? Because of the way that it's written, the plot and the situations that happen in here, this was amazing. And the fact that it is a debut is still blowing my mind. But that's how you know people are really talented out here in this world. People are really talented. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I will be uploading a few more reading vlogs in the near future for other books in terms of reading challenges and TBR videos and all of that type of stuff. So definitely stay tuned for more reading vlogs if you're interested. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me and my channel out. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Bookstagram as well as Storygraph. I will leave all of that information down below. If you have read this book, definitely let me know in the comments. Let me know if you do plan on reading this book, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!